The recent medical updates for Andrew Cross's Desert Drifter's accident recovery have him moving forward, but with some snags. Well, I'd like to offer an update of sorts, and it comes directly from Andrew himself. Now stick with me. I think you'll find this very powerful. The Desert Drifter can't speak to us right now, but I began thinking, wouldn't it be a blessing if we could tap into his thoughts to get a sense of what was going through his mind and what he was thinking? Well, maybe we can. Some time ago, the Desert Drifter was on an excellent podcast called Inspire Campfire. He was talking about a time when he injured his back, and for 3 years he was in constant pain. And even though he tried everything to fix it, nothing would work. He went through a time of depression, and in his words, he went into a really dark place. But Andrew would not give up. Scott, the host of the podcast, asked Andrew what was behind his stubborn resolve. Let's listen in.
Can I ask you about that fight and what was behind that fight? Because I'm thinking there's this light that really wants to emerge and beat these physical forces that are trying to keep you down.
Yeah. I mean, I would say even though there were many times where I felt hopeless, there was still, it was like a little, candle of hope burning inside me.
There was a little candle of hope burning inside of him. Even though Andrew can't speak to us right now, from his own words here, we know his nature. I think you'll agree these are powerful thoughts and words to consider under the current situation. Let's keep listening.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say it was, probably just like a God-given piece of hope that kept me pushing forward, and it certainly wasn't always easy. And I certainly didn't always feel like I was pushing forward, but yeah, I just kind of had this stubbornness of like, I'm not going to just accept that this is how my life is going to be.
I mean, this is direct insight right into the core of Andrew's spirit. Make no mistake, as long as his heart is beating, he is fighting to get through this. We need to receive this energy from Andrew and reflect it back to him 10 times, 100 times, 400,000 times. Who knows what's possible? I think these are the most important and powerful messages for those caring for him to hear right now. But I found a lot of other really timely thoughts from Desert Drifter in this podcast that are well worth sharing. So let's keep going.
When I had those things removed from me and stripped away, I began to realize how important they were. I had taken those things for granted. I had taken my ability to be active. I'd taken just an ability to go for a hike for granted.
Isn't this so true? I think we all do this. We just don't know what we have until it's taken away.
Something that I kind of viewed as like, whatever, hike's not like, it's got to go somewhere, and also just being in beautiful places, I was living in Virginia at the time, but, the ability to like go out west, or the ability to enter into these harder to get to places, I missed tremendously, and I missed the activity. And I'd say throughout that 3 years, I mean, that was one of the things that just kept me like fighting, rather than just giving up and being like, well, I guess this is just how life's going to be. Keeping on fighting was in a large part like just my love that I felt for those things. And I was really say like discovered, just how important they were to me.
No one goes out expecting to be in a horrible accident like Andrew's. But what does the Desert Drifter have to say about life's unpredictability and uncontrollability?
We, in our modern world today, we live in this culture that is obsessed with control and certainty.
Yeah.
And I say this, and I don't remove myself from it. I acknowledge how it affects me, and how I also grab and grasp and struggle for, control and certainty. And I think, more so now than any other time in history, we can at least have the facade or the belief that, okay, we can control things, because we have with technological advances and things. I mean, sure, we can definitely control more aspects of our life and environment than any other humans have probably, throughout history. But that being said, anybody who has had a sudden, tragedy happen or just something unexpected, I mean, we all realize, okay, at the end of the day, we don't actually have that much control. That's why I say it's a facade of it.
Andrew is very aware of his mortality and that control in life is a facade. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes bad things happen. So what might this mean for those trying to navigate this current situation?
But the reality is, in life, if you don't learn how to deal with the uncertainty and you don't, develop maybe some of those character attributes that help propel you through the hard times that we're all going to face, then, I think your quality of life is going to be diminished. And so, how do we develop some of those skills and learn to deal with some of that uncertainty, and then also use those moments of uncertainty as windows into self-discovery?
The Desert Drifter is asking us to look inside of ourselves with respect to this current situation and to unpack what we find, to learn about ourselves.
What comes up within you? Where do your thoughts go? Where do your emotions go? What comes up? And just having the self-awareness of that, and then like I said, using that as a window into potential self-discovery. And so,
how have you responded to Andrew's accident? Has it caused you to be disillusioned with life and to withdraw? Or have it caused you to reach out with love, to be more gentle and caring to those around you? Let's listen to what Andrew says about the inspiration for what he does. Now, he's talking about his time when he was a backpacking guide, but this likely flows through and into his time making Desert Drifter videos. Let's listen in.
They saw the benefits. I know on the trail, as we were coming out on that last day, the conversations they were having about, okay, how, these things that I've learned, how I'm going to apply them to life, how I'm going to write a blog about them, how I'm going to pass this on to others. And so sort of assimilating that knowledge back into their businesses, their personal and professional lives.
I think what Andrew is saying is that he's well aware that when he takes us out into nature, whether it be through his backpacking trips or through his adventures on the Desert Drifter channel, it has the power to inspire us in many areas of our lives.
I remember another group I took out like last year. It was a group of business owners, and there's a whole story behind it that we probably don't have the time to cover. But I remember one of these guys who runs a successful landscaping business, what he experienced on that trip, in the wilderness. This was another Grand Canyon trip. He literally just had the quote. He just said, "This is going to absolutely change how I do business, like how I run my business." And I mean, again, to me, stuff like that is just music to my ears.
It's not just about being entertained when watching Desert Drifter videos. There is a bigger picture. Andrew understands this and he loves it. But this bigger picture is critical for his work to have any substantial meaning.
It's not just about coming out and having a great experience. Like, yeah, we want to have a great experience, but in the bigger picture, so what? It's meaningless if we, in my opinion, it's meaningless if we don't apply it to make a better world and a better society and improve our families' lives, and improve our personal lives, and so the whole "so what" is a big thing to me, as opposed to just sort of this consumer mentality of, hey, let's go have as much fun as we can. Let's have as much fun as we can, but let's make it purposeful.
You can see this in all of the Desert Drifter videos. Andrew wants us to approach nature with gentleness, caring, and respect. Respect not only for nature, but also for the ancient indigenous history in all the places he takes us to. So how does the Desert Drifter think that watching his videos can enhance the lives of his viewers? Let's listen.
People can certainly experience this stuff on their own, just by going out in nature, going visiting a national park. And, I think those are key experiences as well. Those were some of my own stories of just sort of this own personal journey of it.
Now, I realize a lot of people can't do what Desert Drifter does in his videos, but I think the key here is to try and get out and explore the world, whatever that means for you. It could be going and visiting some of the places Desert Drifter goes, or it might just be taking a different street when you go for a walk in your neighborhood, or it could just mean taking a much slower, more intentional look at your own backyard. The flowers, the grass, the plants, the trees, the insects. So let's wind back to the beginning for the simple message to keep in mind if you feel fatigue or doubt. The candle burns. I highly, highly recommend that you check out the full podcast over at Inspire Campfire. In fact, they have a whole selection of podcasts to listen to. Let's listen to their words. Where ordinary people tell their stories of extraordinary adventure. These are campfire stories meant to inspire the rest of us to light the fire within, get outside, follow our dreams, and return to tell our own stories. Check it out. Links are in the description. Thanks to Scott for such an enlightening and excellent podcast. Stay strong, Desert Drifter community, and keep Andrew and his family close to your heart. Bye for now.